hammering. But recently he decided to retire, so I thought I'd take over myself. Many people were surprised by this. As to be a farmer, you need to be a vet, an untangler of red tape, an agronomist, a mechanic, an entrepreneur, a gambler, a weather forecaster, a salesman, a labourer, and an accountant, and I am none of those things. My bosses at Amazon were so surprised they commissioned an 8-part show that would enable viewers to enjoy the hilarious consequences of my attempts to manage the woods and the meadows and the fields full of wheat and barley and oilseed rape. I'd called the farm Diddly Squat because that's what it makes every year. Still, I was confident I'd manage. Man has been farming for 12,000 years, so I figured it must be in our DNA by now. You put seeds in the ground, weather happens, and food grows. Easy. Unfortunately, I could not have picked a worse year to begin. We had the wettest planting season on record. It started raining in October and did not stop for 7 weeks. Then there was the uncertainty about Brexit, and then, just as the sun came out, everyone was told to go indoors and stay there, possibly forever. This had a catastrophic effect on prices. When I first began delivering my 140 lambs, they were worth £100 each. Now that's down to £30. Spring barley, meanwhile, it'll hardly be worth harvesting, thanks partly to a weather-driven glut, and partly to the fact that barley makes beer, and all the pubs were shut. Despite the problems, however, I'm sitting here on a lovely spring day, and apart from 10 acres of oilseed rape that's been eaten by flea beetles, everything seems to be growing quite well, and only 3 lambs have died. And as there's so much to do, I'm not wandering around the house, glugging wine from the bottle and watching reruns of Cash in the Attic. I'm a key worker. And better yet, I have something to write about. Here, in the motoring section of your newspaper, my tractor. I could have bought a Fendt. Everyone says they're the best. Or I could have bought a Fast Track because I'm friends with the JCB family. But obviously I wanted a Lamborghini, so that's what I've got. An R8 270 DCR, to be precise. Lamborghini was a tractor maker long before it made cars, but the business was sold along with the rights to use the name in 1973. Today they're made in Germany, but they still look Lambo mad. If an Aventador were to make love to a spaceship, this is what you'd end up with. It's huge. Even the front tyres are taller than me. You have to climb up a 4-rung ladder to reach the door handle, and then you climb up some more rungs to get into the cab, and then up again to get into the seat. It's so vast, in fact, that it wouldn't fit into my barn. I therefore had to build a new barn. Every single farmer type who's seen it says the same thing. That, they intone with a rural tug on the flat cap, is too big. But in my mind, tractors are like penises. They cannot be too big. Yet the farmers are quite right. It is too big. Not only will it not fit into my barn, it won't fit through the gate onto my driveway, so I've had to build a new driveway. It's also too powerful. The straight-six turbocharged diesel produces only 270 horsepower, which in car terms is Golf GTI territory. But there are 775 torques. This means that when you attach a piece of equipment to its rear end, it is immediately ripped to shreds. Not that I can attach anything to its rear end. It's all heavy engineering back there, and I just know that if I tried, you'd be reading about yet another farmer walking for 4 miles across his fields with his severed arm in a bag. To put cultivators and rollers and drills and discs on the back, I've therefore had to employ a man called Caleb, who also says my tractor's too big. He reckons his class is better. We argue about this a lot. I concede the Lamborghini is a bit complicated. You start it and there's an almighty roar from the vertical smokestack, which is a full 7 inches in diameter. And then you put it in gear. And then you put it in gear with the other gear lever. And then you let the clutch in before you realise you haven't selected forward from the other gear lever. To change gear on the move, though, you use a 4th gear lever. There are, I'm told, 48 forward gears and 48 reverse gears. Happily, though, there are only 2 brake pedals and 2 throttles. But I did count 164 buttons before I opened the armrest and found 24 more. None of them is labelled, which is a worry, as all of them are designed to engage stuff that will tear off one of my arms. Eventually, though, it all began to move, and I